Scorpio.
Scorpio, honey. So let's just, we are Providence Tarot.
We are Providence Tarot. I am Dale.
I'm Kendra.
And we are here to give you a reading. We're giving you your mid-month July reading. Oh my goodness, how has Cancer season been going? You're in your sister water sign.
Right.
She's making us feel things. Yeah, there's a grand water trine going on. And Jupiter has been in Scorpio for almost a full transit of a year, which Jupiter spends about 13 months in each sign. And you guys are almost done with your Jupiter experience.
I can tell you right now, some cards are going to be in reverse. Just some.
I mean, there's a lot going on. There are planets in reverse right now, so I wouldn't be surprised, right?
I love the way these cards feel, too.
He's going to be using the Wild Unknown for you guys today. Up, cards are flying out.
This is like
Scorpio, what's going on with you right now?
I'm just going to keep them and place them back in here.
So you're a fixed sign, you're water, you're emotional. You're in the depths of emotion, right? You understand emotion more than most people. So how are things going with you? You know, with Jupiter being in Scorpio, it's like there's probably been an expansion of feelings. Maybe you've had to look at a lot of deep feelings, especially feelings associated with family or feelings associated with fears. Things that you may be afraid to look at that are now time that, you know, you've had to somehow this year. Yup, yeah. You know, I totally get it. I have Mars and Saturn in Scorpio, and my father's a Scorpio, born on Halloween. And, you know, perfect example, we lost my grandmother this past year. It hasn't even been a year now, in November. And he was like a mama's boy in that way. He's very close to his mother. And so just imagine, you know, the effects that ripple through with something like that. That's just an example because Scorpio is definitely fixed water emotion. And it's about that, you know, even in the tarot, the Six of Cups, which is Sun in Scorpio, it's about that need to share and to look at these deep emotions and to understand why we feel these deep feelings. And they could be deep nostalgic feelings, or they could be deep feelings of scorn or bitterness or you know, addiction, just hidden things, the occult. You know, the 8th house is a lot of stuff that we don't want to look at, you know. So a lot of the times, you know, Scorpio is very genius too, though. You guys do rule that genius kind of quality. And the entrepreneurship quality as well. So you really love to challenge yourself, being ruled by Mars and Pluto, and you can really get that out of other people, and that's a positive thing. That is one of your very positive attributes.
It's good. You know, it's kind of like, it's like a titillating kind of attitude, right? You get like very titillated when something goes the way that you wanted it to go, because you feel like there's like an element of control that sort of satisfies you.
There's a large amount of the need to control.
Yeah.
With
even
you.
With sex.
And a lot of that comes from this need, this sensitivity. There's an awareness to feeling that maybe some other people don't have, more awareness to other people's feelings. You also like to sometimes capitalize on people's weaknesses, only because you feel very delicate and vulnerable a lot of the times yourself. And if you feel like, you know, when the sun's shining on Scorpio, you feel like your feelings are out for everybody to see, it can make you feel like you need to be offensive, you know.
I feel like sometimes it's like that person that is like holding on to the cliff and their feet are dangling. And they're like, oh my God, this is so fucking scary and I'm going through so many emotions right now. And they know that they're like, they know, this is so Scorpionic, they know that they're going to die, but it's like, instead of letting go of the cliff so they can go ahead and do what they know is coming, they kind of like go through all of this stuff right before it actually happens. Now that's a very crazy scenario from like, you know, some movie or something. But that's kind of like how I feel like Scorpio is. They're like, I don't want to face this thing, or I don't want to put any energy into acknowledging these emotions, because then if I acknowledge those emotions, then I'm coming from a place of weakness, and Mars doesn't like that.
Yeah, and you are ruled by two planets, so that is kind of a duality with your planets being Pluto being there and Mars being the old ruler as well, both heavily influencing you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and also, you know,
Pluto is a little less stubborn than Mars, but it's
it's
still
dense,
right.
so it's still very finite. Because I was going to correlate this to what you were saying about
Mm-hmm.
death and about the Scorpio card and the tarot in general,
Mm-hmm.
which the Scorpio card is the death card, and he basically was giving you a scenario of death and kind of giving you a way of how to receive it, because the death card is always talking about a lot of the times the destruction of something or you versus the expression, because it's 1 and 3 13, right?
Right.
And it's also talking a lot about transformation, which is Scorpio, right? Cancer is evolution, which is now. Scorpio is about transformation. All of the water signs kind of have these type of elements to them, right?
Right.
So you're about transforming things. You're that fixed thing. So once it's transformed, it'll never be what it was. You know, in a positive aspect, think about like mutations. When you think about like X-Men or something like that, how they got their superpower, a lot of the times it wasn't like, oh look, I ate this and now I feel great and I'm powerful. It was like a painful process.
Right.
Some of them like were like, oh, you know, things were happening and they were growing hair and turning blue and, you know, all of this stuff set on fire. All this stuff happened, and then they evolved and got to be this like more than they were, bigger than they were being, you know, and that's very much kind of like what Scorpio is and can do for other people as well. So how are you accepting that death?
Right.
How are you gonna like, are you gonna go kicking and screaming? Or are you just gonna like allow this process to happen,
Uh-huh.
you know? Because, you know, death is something that everyone has to face. And we as human beings will never understand our morality until we're faced with it.
Exactly.
No matter what. You know what I mean?
It's like when people are like, oh, I was unconscious or I died and they brought me back, but while I was out, this is what I remember. You know what I mean? And people become like forever changed after that, because it's like they
experience.
Right, they experience something that none of us have, so they have answers to things. So it's almost like they receive these like cosmic divine messages when they go to this place that they've never been to before. It's kind of out of this realm, you know what I mean? So then they're able to express themselves in this waking life in a completely different way than they were before.
Right.
Expression is what, you know, he was talking about.
And that's that hidden veil kind of thing.
You got the Empress right here.
Knowing something that other people don't know. That's a very Scorpio thing.
And also, you know, the High Priestess, she is putting that message forth too. And the Empress is the next connection to the High Priestess. So it really is about expression and the duality of knowing that there's something more, right? It's like when you are not expressing yourself, you know what you get. And then when you express yourself, you know what you get. When you express yourself, you're more likely to get a reaction out of someone or a response from someone than if you're not expressing yourself. If you're not expressing yourself, you're going to get a reaction and a response, but it's not going to be the one you wanted because it's unintentional, usually. And that's usually like the collateral damage when you're dealing with like Scorpio energy on a low polarity. But you know, this is a very positive card here. This is talking about things taking shape. Some of you might be thinking about, you know, your relationship with your mother. Some of you might be thinking about, you know, becoming a mother. Some of you might be wondering if you are ready to be a mother. You know what I mean? Because the Empress is essentially, you know, the place where conception sort of like builds, right? It's like conceiving happens, and then the Empress is the place where, you know, all of that magic happens after, you know, the Ram, the Aries, I am conceiving. I have a life inside of me. I'm communicating with this life that's inside of me through my body. I feel. You know what I mean?
The Empress energy is very about expression. So that could be, he was giving you an analogy of that, but it could be as simple as a plant growing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just any kind of the idea of like energy expanding and growing, and you know, this kind of need to express and to be more and to do more. And so in that sense, it's also like the beginning of conflict. You see how my hands are like reaching up?
Mm-hmm.
It could cause a conflict because I want to do more, but now guess what? I'm blocking the screen, and now you can't see us, and now that's a problem, right? It's like that's the right. It's like the type of kind of thing that you can get, the you know, it's like ivy in that way. So it could, that's one of the lower polarities of it. But on the positive aspect, it is life, it is expression, it is the reason, it is more than just what is there that meets the eye, right? It's the beginning of that understanding of they, right?
Let's look
Okay,
at what you're
let's see
rising
what's going on with you.
to. Son of Wands, so you're giving Knight of Wands. This is mutable fire, which is giving you Sagittarius, but it could be Aries or Leo. I feel like the King of Wands is a very supportive person. It's someone that is enthusiastic about. Sorry, the Knight of Wands is a very enthusiastic person. They could be a little bit rattled or shaken in within the situations that they're in because there's so much energy coming from them.
Rattled.
You know what I mean? Because it's like it's so much energy. It's double fire. Um, with Sagittarius, I feel like sometimes they take on way much more than they actually can handle, or you take on so many things that you get a little bit crazy and trying to delegate everything all at once. That's like the mutableness, that mutable energy, like trying to do so many things all at one time. You might feel like everything is just happening all at one time. You know what I mean, Scorpio? It's like you want to exist in this place of feeling very like comfortable, but you feel like there's so many situations that are beyond your control that are happening, right? And they're getting a little bit out of control. I mean, like Jupiter has gone direct in your sign. So anything that you were doing or anything that was going on before Jupiter went direct is going to sort of like be expanded or magnified now that he's gone direct. Or any of those things that you had to like look over or revisit, or maybe you had to downsize while Jupiter was retrograde, and now that it's going direct, it's showing you how after the downsizing you will be able to move forward in a way that's going to be more expressive to those around you, that they will understand more about what it is that you bring into the table.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. What I'm getting from this is the Son of Wands energy. This is your rising perspective. I'm going to talk real sweet to you in this reading because I just feel like we're in Cancer season, and that's
Yeah.
very much what you need right now. There's a lot going on with Scorpio, and hi, baby, I see you. You're, you know, there are some sudden things that have either come in or will come in, and they could seem intimidating. They're like sudden rushes that come in. It could be offenses. You feel easily offended this month, or you know, people, you're just really sensitive, or there's an intimidation with a long-term goal that you have. You could be working towards something or be running a race with something and wondering if you're going to finish this thing or how it's going to finish. Things could be getting out of control in a passionate way in that sense. There could be recklessness involved. Yeah, I feel you, Blue.
Triggers,
You know,
absolutely.
triggers, totally. And like, you know, also there's like people can say things because this is the night could be a person. So there could be like a person who is like almost like harassment kind of thing. Or it could be sexual. It could be like, it could, in a positive way, it could be like a sexual crush or something. If you're single and like you could really meet someone during this time, maybe at a concert or something, really, you know, soon, that could come in. Or there could be like something that comes in that makes you go hot and heavy right away. Like, oh, this bill that you didn't expect to get. Or one of your kids did this thing, they got in a fight at school and now something, something, something. Or like anything like that, something at work. They cut your check somehow. That tax thing did this thing. It could be anything like that. Not that saying that it's bad. We don't know yet. We'll get into the reading.
It's coming out of nowhere, I feel like.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a sudden feeling. and you're gonna get to it. This is like mid-July, so it could be like have happened for some of you. And then some of you, it's kind of going to happen right before the Leo season kind of kicks in, maybe. So it's just something to look at. It could be a fire sign person as well.
Some of you could be wanting to travel, because sometimes when I look at the Empress card and I see that tree, or in this deck, the Wild Unknown, or when you look at the Rider Waite or the Morgan Greer, and it's a woman that's there, that's just existing. It's her physical being. It's the physical body. How is your physical body doing? Do you feel like you're going to be having to, do some alchemical things like take some holistic medications, or maybe you feel like you want to go on like some kind of like cleanse to purify your body because you know that you might be pregnant, or you just want your body to be like, just recalibrated for any type of, thing that you're going to be experiencing.
Yeah, well, he keeps referring back to the Empress out of the bottom, which is why he keeps hinting at this
Yeah.
idea of pregnancy for some of you Scorpios out there. But it's just the idea in general of fertility and of the body in general,
Right.
like growth in yourself. It could be also an idea that's associated with your emotions somehow.
Right.
Or it could be an
yeah.
actual physical thing, like your children or family. We just turned over your sun card, and you got another knight, which is the Son of Cups. So you have 2 cards out so far. Your rising perspective, we're doing a pyramid reading, and your sun card.
Spiritual bag.
Okay? So now, as people who, if you normally follow with astrology, your 3 main points, the most important sectors are your sun, moon, and rising. And this reading is for Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. And so far in this reading, we've showed you rising and your sun. Right now you have the Son of Wands in your rising perspective, and then in your sun, which is your actions and the way you're externally being presented to the world, you have the Son of Cups. So it's very interesting. These are 2 knight energies, right?
Yeah.
What is it that's intimidating you? What is it that is, there might even be fear around it?
You're not appreciating yourself for who you are, Scorpio, and I feel like that's...
You want to be a healthy woman. That's your main wish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
It's important, because it's like with your physical body, right? We're not really talking about a physical body because of pregnancy. It could be a physical body just because you're pregnant with the idea that you wanna have a healthier take on your daily routine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that.
And it might not be within your... Like, you might be concerned with this, and it may be because of choices that you have made, but a large possibility is it isn't, because Scorpio does rule also like this kind of heritage, hereditary, hidden kind of thing too, this discovery of the unknown.
Right.
So it could be like you've discovered things that in your blood or your family, like somebody was diabetic and now you're worried about your sugar,
it's
or
life and
that
death.
type of
It's
thing.
like that soul connection with it's like stuff that's like hereditary or in the genes. That's very deep. It's deep in the body. It's very molecular. So that's very Scorpio. And then you're attached to it. That's Pluto. It's like, you got this thing because you were born. You know what I mean?
Or you're worried about sharing some emotions. You could be worried about sharing some type of, maybe you feel very emotionally about something, or you have like some type of concern, or people see you as someone who is like slowly kind of getting towards something. And it could be in a relationship. Maybe it's some news even. It could be you, because you're a Scorpio, so you always want to uncover something. So it could be in finding out something. And in finding out, then you'll know how to act accordingly. So you're kind of nervous about that. I'm getting a very kind of unsettled, with the Son of Wands being here twice. And they're the only 2 cards out so far.
People want to help you, Scorpio. I feel like, there you go. I feel like, people see your situation and they see what's going on with you, and they want to actively participate in the ways that they can. You can't always expect people to be exactly what you want them to be in the way you want them to be it, because then they're not being, genuine, right? It's like when somebody wants to present themselves to you in a helpful way, you want them to do it in an authentic way. It's like, help me do this. You know, it's like you want somebody to offer that help so that you can feel you can appreciate them a little bit more. So it's really about you allowing yourself to appreciate the people really around you, because there's a lot of people here. You're learning lessons, right, about
This is people so
communications.
far, definitely
Mm-hmm.
people. You're talking about people and communications for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Definitely, he's right on the head with that. That's all I see. And a lot of it has to do with like the way you decide to communicate what you want, because you know, and people are watching how you share your emotions maybe right now. Maybe there's intimidation around that. You know, there could be even this idea of surveillance and how it affects your emotions with the Daughter of Swords being here. I'm getting the idea of that because the owl is here and he's perched. I'll show you the owl. He's perched, right? So it's kind of like people seeing in, or you being, how are you being, how are you learning lessons about communication? You're learning lessons about exposure and vulnerability as well. Maybe you don't feel comfortable in that, or maybe there could be even some type of anxiety over it, or there's just some type of restriction somehow that's affecting the emotion.
Yeah.
Because Saturn is there. So Saturn does rule the body. It rules like the skin and like, you know, the skeletal system. That's really, you know, this Leo in the sun really rules the body. The sun rules kind of the body and that identity, but Saturn rules the skin. When you think about the rings and the restriction that's keeping the systems in, you know, it's the same type of idea. So what kind of restrictions do you have with communication? Maybe I'm getting that it's like almost like either somebody communicated something to you or you need to communicate certain things, and there may be anxiety somehow. Even though this isn't an anxiety placement, to have the swords in the water position
Right.
is automatically kind of causing you a little bit of anxiety because it's like you're thinking too much.
Right.
It's not like the Queen of Swords where you're seeing clearly.
Right.
It's the Daughter of Swords. So it's like a page in that
Right.
sense. So there are lessons to be learned
Right.
here.
Right. You might be guessing some things, right? You might be making your own sort of like hypotheses, and you could be wrong about some of those things that you're.
Or you have a younger
guessing.
daughter, or
Right.
you have a daughter, or you have a younger sister, or like or you have a best friend that's younger, or anything like that, and
Right.
their life could be causing you anxiety somehow. Yeah, definitely.
You might be even waiting for like more information. You know what I mean? Because this
I'm
is
getting
like,
that too with
this-
the intimidation with the knife.
Yeah, this is like somebody that is like, okay, yes, I'm here, but it's like I need more information, because it's like you're kind of at the beginning stages of something, or knowing something more, or learning something more, or talking about something with someone, because these are change cards, and this is like talks about change, right? Talks about change, discussions that might be affecting you emotionally, but it's like it's things that actually have to happen, because this is a lesson that actually will have to unfold.
Absolutely. In your past,
More people.
Mother of Cups, every single one of these
This
is
crazy.
a person so far. So that's very interesting, especially coming out of Gemini, which is all about communication. Okay, so the good thing is that Jupiter is direct now. I just wanted to make that poignant because Jupiter has been in your sign for almost a year, and it was retrograde for about 4 months, or since like March or so. So, you know, it takes about a week or two to start feeling the effects of the social planets like that. They're far out. So you'll start to feel more clarity when it comes to what it is that you feel spirited about, you know, and when it comes to like social matters a little bit more, and maybe even your marriage, because Jupiter is like the husband card, so there
It's
could
like,
be more clarity there too.
How are your expectations being supported by like the universe? Like, does the universe support your expectations, or is it telling you that you're expecting too much, or you're expecting something different than you should be expecting? You know, with the Mother of Cups being here in the past,
It's like you knew.
this is like, yeah, this is like you have some sort of like mixed feelings about something from the past, but it really is in the past. And Scorpio, you know, when you think of like Scorpio, you think of the Death card. You know, he comes in, he's a skeleton. Even in this deck, it's the skeleton of a bird. So when we appreciate a skeleton for what it is, it's actually allowing us to appreciate something that once was. And then we're sort of like honoring that and moving forward into the future, knowing what we know now, about that thing that existed and what new information we have based on that moving forward. And how is it going to serve you, right? So it's like really transmuting all of those things that have happened and turning it into gold.
I'm getting a very interesting feeling from this reading, and it's good, but deep and just soft, and it's different than some of the readings that I've had, and it's with you and in general.
Yeah, like recently. I mean,
And I just wanted to say that I'm very woke to the energy with you right now, Scorpio. Now, some of it also with the Mother of Cups in the past, it's like this, the thing that's affecting you, possibly in your body, could be on the mother's side. So it could have been a hereditary thing, or some, even like a disease thing, like your mom was an alcoholic and now you're an alcoholic kind of thing, or abusive thing, and or even it could have been a loss. There could have been a lot. There's like something there, in that sense, or either that, or you've known supremely this situation that you're in that's causing the intimidation in your life. You've known about. Uh, you may have anticipated that this possibly could have happened. And it may be a karmic thing too. You could have been putting energy into it, and then all of a sudden that worst fear kind of happens in those ways. Or it could be like inevitably there was this lesson to be learned somehow through this transformation, because you are Scorpio. So you're meant to transform, and you're meant to feel deeply, and you're meant to understand these aspects. And that's all part of your karmic path.
Right. I think that a lot of times people who have strong Scorpio placements, or maybe like an exalted or dominated Pluto placement, he has Mars and Saturn.
Isn't this
in
the weekly
Scorpio.
for them as well?
I think so, yeah. It was.
I believe so.
It was.
Interesting.
And I have Pluto in my first house, and I also have Saturn and Scorpio at 3 degrees. We both do. Ooh, this is a deep connection. That's what we're talking about. We're talking
If you
about.
watch our weeklies, this card in a different tarot deck came up for you. So this is very present. We just did the weeklies a couple days ago.
Right.
And here it is. This is your present card.
Right. If you haven't
So
seen
it's
the
just
weeklies,
reiterating
look at them.
where you are right now.
Yeah.
You're thinking about a deep union with another person. Period. It could be you and your mother. It could be you and your child. It could be you and yourself. But you're thinking about this union, and you're thinking about the beauty in this union. Venus is in Virgo right now, which is actually in its fall, so she's kind of asleep right now, right? So that's something to think about. While you're doing this examination of sorts, you might have to go back and re-examine, right?
She's sort of like in a place where she feels a little bit blocked, right?
Yeah.
By Virgo, because Virgo is like,
because Virgo's so critical. But Venus is like, but it's beautiful. And she was like, and Virgo's like, did you wash it? Did you sanitize it? Because you want to eat the fruit, but did you weigh it? Is it blah, blah, blah? You know what I mean? There's so many things with, it could take the sweetness of it.
It's interesting. It's like Virgo comes in and it like does this sort of like upgrading Virgo system, and then Libra comes out and it's like, oh look, this is what I am. Look at this, right? It's all put together. And Scorpio is like, all put together. I know there's something else there. And Libra's like, yeah, there is something else there. You know what I mean? Like they know that there's something else there. And they also kind of go through some of the similar things that Scorpio goes through emotionally, but it's on more of a mental place, right? Because Saturn is exalted in Libra, and Pluto, is a co-ruler or dominant there. This too
is interesting because it's the only one that's not a person, and it's
Right.
about a person.
It's talking about,
like the Two of Cups is still talking about a person.
It's talking about relationships with people.
Right.
Because if you have all these court cards here and you have these 2 cups, they're really just sort of like emphasizing the point that it's a two-way street when you're thinking about dealing with someone. Everybody has their own set of emotions when they are communicating with you, when they're bonding with you, when they're having a deep emotional connection with you. You always want to consider so many things about a person when you have a close relationship like this. Where are they coming from? Why might they be feeling like this today? What's going on in their life that I may not know? How do they feel about, their job or just everything? when you have a close relationship with someone, you know enough things about them to know how you should treat them. Should you be softer with them today? Should you be more like stern with them today? Should you, not talk to them or see them that day?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm getting a yearning. I felt like he was talking and he was explaining just then, and I almost felt like really emotional. I've been feeling really emotional recently in the reading. There are a lot of cups, and there's just I'm getting a lot of like yearning. I'm getting a lot of just.
Right.
And it's been quite a journey, and it's something intuitive inside. There's like a hunger, and it could be just beautifying oneself or beautifying one's home again. Maybe there was just so much angst within one's self or within one's home or within one's temple. Your body is also your home. And trying to get back to a place of what some of you moved and the feeling isn't the same. Some of you are searching for things in people, and you're not gonna find them in people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's just a real deep need to share in this feeling of even possibly this pain
Right.
that you're sensing, right? And you just want finding myself.
You
Yeah.
gotta forgive your experiences.
It's like something may have happened to force you to this place of finding yourself, be it a death or a birth, which are both ruled by the Scorpio card, or a transition or a transformation somehow through a female in your life, be it your daughter, daughter of swords, or your mother, mother of cups. There could have been a loss of your mother. There could have been a loss of your daughter, or there could have been just something that happened to a daughter or to a mother, or even it could be a son too, but I'm getting feminine energy and I'm getting like an outside thing, like I'm getting like a move or a body thing, very much. And it has something to do with your idea of beauty and your idea of home and your idea of evolution of self, evolution of the family. Family rules, Cancer rules the family. So this is all, and I'm getting it's very delicate. Um, I'm seeing my number right
I
now
don't know what
on
you
the
just
screen.
said, whoever put that last comment in, but you said 7 of something. Toilets? I don't know what that was. Maybe there was a typo. Your
What did you
family,
say?
something. But wow, here we go.
So, okay.
This is the thing.
Immediate influence.
The immediate influence is the Five of Swords. And I was going to say about this Two of Cups, because it is very poignant energy for you right now and it's in the center of your reading, this is talking about self-love and self-care. And how are you going to do that? This isn't talking about going out and buying yourself some shit at the store. I say grocery store. At the store. This is talking about understanding why you are the way that you are with the people that you're the way that you are with.
Right.
And it is not always someone else's problem to fix when you have something going on inside of you. And you don't want to look to controlling other people for your own satisfaction in order to fix what is going on inside of you.
Right.
You have to admit to yourself that you have been ripping up your own floors, right?
That's Venus as well. But this is Venus in Aquarius. Now you got two Venus cards, okay? You have Venus in Cancer and Venus in Aquarius. Cancer is talking about the emotions that initiate inside of me and why I feel that way. But Aquarius is like, my mind wants this. I'm thinking about these things. I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about, So your immediate influence, Venus doesn't necessarily like to be here. Venus loves to be here. Loves it, right? But Venus doesn't necessarily like to be here, right? in this place of conflict where it's like your mind can be really stubborn about certain things and you may be losing the beauty of it or the beauty's going out. It's a slander within. So
It's
you
like
could be
a
getting from a place you could be defeating yourself within. You know what I mean? Because this is also talking about not mature communication even, right? So you could be being cynical, jumping the gun, expecting that they're gonna do this to you. So they're doing it, right? Like they're doing it, right? You're
wow.
waiting for them to mess everything up. Or you're waiting somehow to it's just kind of like almost like a negative. Five is talking about a temporary conflict. So it's like something that's temporary, but in your mind, it's like you could be just really defeating yourself somehow. So just know that it could be not as bad as you think it is, whatever the situation, or it could be a bad situation, and you could be making it worse in the way that you're thinking, and you need to somehow start thinking more positively or start a healing process, which you haven't begun yet.
Right. You know, in the future, because we're going to move along, because we both have to go and do something. But in the future, right here, we called it, you got the death card, that skeleton.
We did talk
You
about the death card.
got to appreciate things for what they were and what they brought to you. You know, it's like appreciating something is not just appreciating the positive. You have to appreciate the negative aspects of something. And everything is not always negative just because it ends. You know what I mean? There's an ending to everything. You think that life is negative just because we all die? Would anyone ever exist if we all thought that way? No. So you got to let something come to an end. It could be a way that you're being. You know what I mean? It could be something that you're doing, or it could just be a way that you're feeling, that you're holding on to, that you really don't have to feel that way, darling. Just let it go. Some of you might even need some therapy.
I mean, and either way, it's going to be a transformation. Some of you, there's a union that happens that causes a transformation. There's a spiritual union with someone that causes it. I mean, it could be it could be you got a new pet, or you have a baby, or someone dies, or something happens, and there will be a transformation. These are major things right there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the anxieties are in the devil card. The devil card is like I'm having anxieties over what I'm attracted to or what my rituals are, right? Or work even. How people view me, my physical body, because this is Saturn, it's Capricorn, but it's also Saturn, it's also heritage. So it's like that thing that I thought about before is now causing me all of these anxieties. I'm feeling bound to this kind of in a physical way, even. You could be defeating yourself, like the way that you look. Maybe you don't feel like you're good enough for this relationship with this person, or, you want to evolve more in yourself. You definitely do, because you don't feel good when you look in the mirror physically a lot.
Right,
I'm
you
getting
don't.
that.
It's because of whatever you're doing to yourself too. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm dating a Scorpio moon right now, and it has been heavy. We're not dating anymore, but it's over. And it needed to end, but now it's like once that ending happens, your anxieties are the devil. So it's like you're so afraid.
You were fired, yeah.
You're right, yeah. The
Sorry.
ending, it has to happen. Something better is coming along, right? This is anxieties over a codependency. It's like, but I've been doing it this way for so long, and I'm afraid of the change. Or this could be that you're just really abusing something because you have so much anxiety, right? It's like you've got to change up the way that you've always been doing things so that you can like experience anew.
Yeah, and you're gonna have something new that comes in. Ace of Pentacles is here in your Mars, and it's gonna force you to do this new thing. Either it's a new job or it is this new situation with the new relationship, the new thing with the Empress being there, that's going to cause the death of the way you used to treat yourself, even. And there could be a female in your life, or it could be some version of yourself, like a youthful version of yourself that goes away in order for a more mature version of yourself to come through, and you intuitively knew that that was going to happen. Now, there could be intimidations around that because of the Son of Cups and the Son of Wands, but you need to put aggression into this new proof, this new scenario that's going to happen for you. Because many of you, with the death and then the Ace of Pentacles being there, is like
Right.
there's change that's coming.
It is coming, and it's like this Ace of Pentacles right here is saying that there's the beginnings of a new process of materialization. So it's like you have to let this ending take place, and you have to release this codependency that you're holding on to so tightly for this new beginning to take place, because it's not going to come unless you release what it is that's not serving you anymore.
All right, the advice is putting the work in. Sun and Capricorn, right? So focus on your family, focus on your heritage, focus on these things. If you want to know your family tree, if you want to like do this thing and you have this ambition that you want to know, if you're thinking about that family reunion because it's summertime, or you want to connect with that old friend or your father, or this heritage about your body, and you were wondering if you need to get this checkup because of this lump, you do. All of this type of stuff, anything like that, go ahead and do it. Also, spend the time outside and connect with people. Don't miss out on the magic of life, you know? If you want to connect during this time and you're feeling like, I really miss this person, Venus in Cancer, right? Because this is opposing the advice.
The loss and the death is going to bring you more stability. Let's look at what your outcome is. Okay, perfect. We were talking about Pluto. We were talking about releasing things. The Judgment card is your outcome card. So release.
And it's your ruler.
It's your ruler too. So release those things that do not serve you. Let the purification happen. I did say a lot of you need to go to therapy. Go to therapy. Judgment is that. Face those demons, face those things that you were afraid of that are naturally just going to come anyway. You're going to experience them.
Yeah. And this is like very, after all said and done, no matter what, like some of you are having anxieties over little petty things that can't be changed.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like this thing on page 6. It's like the way that people say things. It doesn't matter. If something happens, you know, the way that it's printed on page 6 versus the way that it's printed in the New York Times, it's going to be a different scenario because of the consumer and the reader. But whatever happened is whatever happened. The plane crashed and the plane crashed, right?
Right.
If you lost something, then you lost something. Or you know what I mean? Like it's like, so the judgment in the end is like the reveal almost. It's the transformation from the reveal.
Transformation. It's like once you
with death and judgment being there.
Right. Once you relinquish the control,
It's like,
then it's like you'll be set free. You see what I mean?
yeah,
Once you relinquish
you'll be
the
set free
control,
from this.
you'll be set free.
Feeling like you can't.
Scorpio, if you want a
Okay.
private reading, email us at
You
providencetarot@gmail.com.
I want to know.
You guys you guys book your readings now in July, because if anyone, when August 1st gets here, if you book your
Leo
readings after
season.
August 1st, then it's going to be at the new rates, and we're going to do an update video on those new rates. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Providence Tarot.
Right.
I am NYC Kendrick on Instagram.
I am Blue is True on Instagram. Also, Chase Dale and Son of Lolita, SUN of Lolita. Those are some of my other accounts because I write. We do all the. I gave them all. I don't always give them all. But with Scorpio, since you always want to uncover something, look, you get the secret thing. These are my other accounts you can follow.
I have another account. It's called the Tongue Pop. That's like my food account.
He cooks. Okay, he
You're
cooks.
welcome,
He can
y'all.
throw it down. You know, I write. I'm a writer, and we're both Pilates instructors, group Pilates instructors. So I have an account with that as well.
Yeah.
We want to connect with you guys. This was a very special reading. It's a very interesting reading.
You got
the lovers and the Emperor and the Moon and Taurus.
Okay, so
Yeah, there's a lot of wanting
there's something
to share.
promising in the future.
In the future, after this hardship that we've gone through, once Jupiter goes into Sag, it's going to be beneficial for a lot of us, you know. All of this kind of like deep scorn.
Right.
And it won't be so hard the second time around, Scorpio.
Let go of the painful thoughts and the feelings that actually aren't really there to hurt you. They're not there.
Love you.
Bye.